the whole season.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that.
No, probably not.
But yeah, guys, this is our first ever podcast.
I can't believe it's actually happening.
I know. It's been a lot, like obviously mums trying to balance work life.
It's been like 9 months in the making, but not full on 9 months in the making, because we've had to deal with you and your newborn baby whilst doing it, and then I've got 2 little ones running around.
It's just trying to balance it out, but I think, well,
we've done it.
We've done it. We've made it. There's going to be some juicy topics and we will let you know. But first, we just want to introduce ourselves really and just let you get to know us, know why we're doing the podcast, what we want to create. So yeah.
Yeah, so, well, I'm Amber and I am a mum of 2 beautiful little girls. My eldest is 3 years old, Harper, and my youngest is coming up to just under 1.5, Lily. And what you will, I've just thought, like, jaw breaker, not pregnant yet. Don't look at me like that.
I was like, wait, what? Announcement.
No. Could you imagine? That'd be a way to tell you. But we will be looking to start baby number 3 making in the next coming weeks, which, so excited. And we talked about bringing the audience along with us for the getting pregnant, not literally with us, don't get too excited, and then the pregnancy journey. So watch out for those little snippets that we're going to add in on our social medias.
Very exciting, I can't wait.
So excited. But back to me. Raise our 2 beautiful girls at home with my husband Aaron, who's a really hands-on dad, loves every moment of fatherhood, and it's really made us fall in love with each other even more, I think, seeing each other as parents. And it's just been an absolute roller coaster, an absolute blast. And I can't wait for, like, our audience out there to start their journeys, or if you're in the middle of it. I just think it's such a blessing to be a parent, and such a privilege, and I think it is the best thing that I've ever done. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so I'm with them constantly. Some days that's tough, and most days when I'm in the thick of it, I feel like I really don't enjoy it. But when I get to talk about it in this type of forum, or when I look back on our memories, or at the end of the day when they've gone to bed typically, I absolutely love that that's my job, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
No, definitely. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, that's Amber. Lovely to get to know you. I'm Scarlet. I am a first-time mum to a little boy who's now coming up 9.5 months.
Crazy.
Jesus Christ, that's gone super fast.
Yeah.
Don't let, kid you, when you have a baby, time flies like flies.
Yeah, because when you're awake, you're normally half asleep.
Especially in the beginning months, I was like walking zombie, it felt like.
So you do literally just like wake up one day and you're like, this is my life now.
Yeah, I definitely agree that. Like, I'd say the first 6 months we were definitely figuring it out, both me and my partner, as being parents, working together, finding out how we work on no sleep and talking to each other, which has been great. To be fair, we have grown a lot as individuals and as a family, which is amazing. But I feel like I was in that bubble for the first 6 months where you're like, oh yeah, I'm a mum, I can't let them do this. Now I'm 9.5 months in, I'm like, oh my. Oh my.
That bubble's popped.
Yeah, that
and
has.
harshly.
Yeah, it literally has. But it's the same. It's the best job you could ever ask for, being a parent, and it is amazing, and I would never change it for the world. But don't get me wrong.
Doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah, it is not easy. Today for me, it's been a hard day, and I was like, I am done. You need to go to bed tonight. I am. But now I'm like, oh, I miss you. Where are you?
Wake up.
Yeah.
I see you on the monitor.
But yeah, so obviously I'm in the thick of it now. Time's flying, having a great time. We're just figuring out as the 3 of us as having a family. But yeah, that's kind of us.
Actually, we met through our partners as well.
We did, yeah.
So, we've known each other how many years now? I'm just trying to, end of 2017, I think.
Yeah, so it must be coming up 7 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
6, 7.
Coming up.
Because you were travelling when I met Aaron with Josh, and he was like, oh, his missus is out travelling. And then you came back and we met, and then that's kind of been it, really.
And we just got on like a house on fire from literally, I kid you not, day one.
Yeah, literally day one. I think we came to yours first. Did we come to?
We went to a party, and I think I met you there.
Oh, must have been there. You might.
And house on fire all night.
Yeah.
Like we just got each other.
Yeah, we did.
And we haven't looked back since, really.
No, we haven't. We
like
actually
two
haven't.
little peas in the pod.
I think the boys are like, oh, great. And yeah, we've just got closer and closer, and then us having, well, when you first having Harper, and then Lily, and then me having Finny, like, we've just even more, like, honestly, I don't think I could have done pregnancy or have Finny without you. Like, that's just, but do you know what I mean? Like, and I definitely don't feel like I understood it. Like, obviously, when you had Harper, I didn't fully get it until I became a mum, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
No.
But not like that way. But do you know what I mean? Like, as a mum, you just get it. You just
I definitely have had those moments like with my sister-in-law. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I did not, like I hope I never said anything that just out of ignorance of how hard it is.
Yes.
Because she's a fantastic mum, and she just carries it. Like she's just so natural. And I'm like, have I ever said anything that was just kind of like brushed off anything that she might have been trying to let off her shoulders, just really thinking that it wasn't that big a deal, when actually now I've been through it, every day there's a big deal.
Yeah, I agree.
Every day there's a big deal.
Even like now, if we don't message each other back and it's like,
oh, I know
we just get it, we just fully get it. We're like, it doesn't
no,
matter.
I'm done. I'll speak to you next week.
Yeah, or it'd just be like, are you free tomorrow? Like, do you know what I mean? Are we still doing tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, even though I haven't spoken to you since like last week, because life just goes quick. But then I remember when you had Harper and I'd like text you and I wouldn't hear, and I'd be like, oh my god, I hope I'm not. Now I'm just like, I get it, I get the reply, I'm exactly the same, maybe even worse now on the scale. But that's just life of being a parent, isn't it? Really
is. Yeah, you can't take that sort of thing personal at all.
No, even if it's like a week reply, you will get a reply.
Yeah,
but it might just take a while.
My own time. My biggest one is that, especially Harper, Lily started to play on my phone now as well, but she would open up messages without realising that if you get a notification when they're playing on the phone,
that's it.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's like gone into like a black hole that will never be seen again.
I agree. Finny started doing that, like, because my parents live far away, so I FaceTime them, and he just starts using his finger. I'm like, how have you even learned
like
this?
Hanging up mid-call.
Literally, and he like swipes the other day, and he was trying to like message some other person, and I was like, how have you got off of my mum's conversation on? And I was like, do you know what? That's probably why I miss most messages now, because I just don't see them come through.
We had this thing where like Harper was able to unlock our phones. We don't know how to. I'm hoping it was just a case of she'd be near us and it would literally catch a split second of our face as she's like wave the phone around. But sometimes she'd be like in the phone and you're like, I haven't opened this up for you. Like, how has this happened?
They know hacks, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're more smarter than us sometimes.
Planted on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're here for a reason.
Yeah, they are. And we are graced with them, the wonderful kids that we've birthed and created.
Oh, but talking about sort of like just then, like a few ailments that we've just mentioned, just dropped in there. I think that's just the start of it. I think as, especially you mentioned you were a first time mum, I think the first baby you have, the one that makes you a parent, you just go through such a change as a human, and I think that goes for mums and dads. I think it's probably a little bit harder on mums, generally speaking, because they've got so much emotional maturing to do as they become primary caregivers typically, and their body goes through a lot with pregnancy and the afterbirth of things. So for me, the reason why I'm so drawn, when you mentioned about doing a podcast, to doing so, is I am a bit of a nerd. I like facts, I like figures, I like going away and researching stuff, and I just, the thought of being able to spread awareness about what you do go through as you become parents, specifically as you become parents, really drew me in, because I did go away and I did a lot of research, and it still hit me like a lorry, and it was by far the biggest life-changing event that's ever happened in my life. and I am not the person that I was pre-kids. And it was a tough ride personally. I found it really difficult, that transition. It was in the middle of COVID, so that might have played into it. But it was tough, and I don't want anyone out there to suffer the way I did just through lack of conversation happening in the community that we live in and the society we live in. So the more that we can talk about it, the bigger our platform can get. I think just creating that village for people who just, you know, didn't know they didn't know stuff.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And being a first time mum, it is really lonely, regardless if you have mum friends. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, you've got loads of friends, you shouldn't be lonely. You are lonely, because in them days when it is just you do feel quite isolated and alone, especially because you have lost that person who you used to be, like, and you've been that person your whole life, and now you've changed into this mum, and it's trying to figure that out, trying to figure out a 24/7 life with a baby. There's a lot, and it does feel very alone and isolated, especially like when you have partners that work a lot, which obviously in the day we live in, that has to happen for most parents and couples, and it is quite isolating. Like, that's one of the reasons why I want to do the podcast, is to build that community and to know that mums and parents, you're not alone. Like, even if them late replies, even if you feel like, oh, I don't want to drop the message because they won't like read it and stuff, we want to read it. We want to help them people that feel alone in that time, or want to know that someone is there for you, like, because everyone is in the same boat.
I feel like when you're in those moments, when you're feeling lonely, you do feel like there's no one else going through what I'm going through in my life at the moment, and that's true. Like, I do think, like, in terms of when you however old your child is, there's no one else in your life that has a child that age and all these other factors. There's no one else who has this age child and a partner that works X amount of hours, but it's the fact that we all feel that way that actually brings us together. So yes, we might be the only person going through what we're going through, but you're the only person that's going through what you're going through. So let's come together and use that as a tool to support one another.
100%, definitely agree with that. Like, and we want to build that community together. That's one of the reasons, like, that we're doing it together. But one of the big thing of why I wanted to start this podcast, and I mentioned it to you, is because I felt like there was a lot of stuff I was really unaware of. Like, even I went to the antenatal classes, I looked online, there was a lot of like, I get, like, someone puts out, this is what you should do because this is the tailored midwifery and NHS way. But that's not what it's like being that person sometimes. I feel like they don't fully explain stuff. You feel like you're a bit lost in the dark. You try all these different things and you're like, oh, hang on, is this right? Is this wrong? Like, this thing's saying this. And I feel like that's another reason why I wanted to do the podcast, is to tell people the facts, and not yet facts and discussions that we had when we were pregnant and being mums. Like, there's a lot of topics that I'm still like, oh my God, let me know what you did. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's another reason why I wanted to do the podcast. Absolutely. Is just to someone who's like, oh my goodness, I have no idea about weaning. There's loads of books online, but I'm still a bit confused. Hang on, there's a podcast, girls talking about their experiences. And that's what I really enjoy, is other people's experiences being a mum, because they're first-hand mums or parents, like, they know. Like, and not one shoe fits all. Like, there is the textbook that you're taught at your antenatal clinics, and they might give you a couple alternatives, but creating this village, we can actually hear all the variations of ways to go about things that have worked for people. And I think I've always said to you, like, if I give you too much advice, tell me to stop, and never be offended, never think I'm going to be offended if you don't do the advice that I give you, because for me, when I've given you advice, it's more like, here's the knowledge, here's what I've experienced, but take from it what you want. I don't mean like you need to go and do this, this and this, but if you hear something you're like, actually that really worked for me, run with it, adapt it, go with it. And I think it's the same thing, like, you listening, you might just hear one little thing that could change your life forever. And go, oh my goodness, I'm so thankful I listened to that podcast. Like, and that's the whole reason, like, we should be supporting each other and giving out information, because, like you said, that one little bit of information that we might say may help someone in the thick of it. Like,
absolutely. And also, I think mental health wise, I know it's so cliche, but it's so good to hear that, like, actually it is normal to feel this way, and I'm not the only one. And I think I can definitely speak for myself as a first time mum, and even the second time. I didn't suffer too much mentally the second time round, but the first time round it was really tough. And I think you're kind of expected to just bounce back in all ways, and you don't. And I think you'll find as our journeys go, we will definitely have mental health battles along the way, and just being able to share that with you guys, I hope can help people.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and just help others because I feel like when you have your baby, you get told about like the baby blues, or you're gonna get like postnatal depression, and you think, oh, almost like that's how I felt anyway. I'm not saying
I always felt like I was, in some cases I felt like I was going to get depressed, because I felt like society was telling me like it's really, really bad if you get postnatal depression. It's really, really bad, really, really bad. Actually, from just my observation of the world of first time mums, I think the majority of mums probably get it. And I'm not just talking about the 6 weeks baby blues that they talk about, which is definitely like just a hype phrase that people throw around. I think most people get it, and actually it sucks to have it, but it's not a big deal in the sense of you shouldn't be afraid of it. Embrace it, get help, get support, and you'll come out the other side.
And remember, like, this is one big thing I wasn't fully aware of. I did know that your hormones were going to be going everywhere, but when I had Finny, obviously we'll be going into our birth stories a little bit in later podcasts, so you'll find out about what we kind of went through having our little ones. But I was very much of like, oh my God, what is happening to my body? Oh my God, how am I feeling this way? And even though they mention it to you, they don't
emphasise how poor you're going to feel.
Yeah, literally. And I think that's the biggest thing, is I remember just quick, I won't say too much information on it, but that first day at home and the midwife comes over, I just remember crying all day, and I was like, what is wrong with me? But I didn't get like you said, the loose tongue baby blues, your milk's coming in, so I was like, okay, it will, but you just don't realise like how, oh my goodness, like what is going on? Like I'm either laughing or crying, like what? Like, or I'm sobbing. Like, I think that's just like a really big thing. Like, it's just helping women and parents understand like all the aspects that come with having a baby and raising children.
We literally do mean all, because I know we've just spoken about like mental health there a little bit, raising awareness, helping people. But we have fun too, with awareness and helping people. Like there's the podcast about sex coming out. We've done a weaning one. We want to do a whole range of topics, and we will focus on different areas. And also, as we grow as parents, we're bringing new stuff to the table that we haven't experienced yet, that we want to share with everyone.
100%. Like Amber was saying, we're going to be talking a few taboo subjects, which is exciting. And not for the faint-hearted, I feel like saying. No, they're PG. But do you know what I mean? Like, we just want to talk about all aspects of everything when you become a parent and having a baby. And like you're saying, we've got, like I said about weaning, it's not just about pregnancy and becoming a mum and all the mental health, and which was of course what we want to talk about, because that is really important. But we talk about the other things like bottle feeding, breastfeeding, weaning, health visitors. Like there's such a wide subject area of pregnancy and parenthood, and that's what we want to address. And
nothing's off the table. Like, we are happy to talk about everything.
My face is, if you can see us on video right now, I'm like, oh.
So what you can expect to come from our podcast going forward was we'll be here every Wednesday 10 a.m. on the dot. You can listen on Spotify, we'll upload onto YouTube, and you can see us all on our socials. We'll also release blogs coming with the episodes most of the time, that go into a little bit more detail about topics that we're discussing, and we'll make sure we give you all the links to those. You can also visit us directly on our website. And each episode, how long are they roughly going to last?
So each
This is
episode,
the editor over
yeah, it's my job. It's roughly most episodes will sorry.
There's a lot of that happening as well.
Be prepared for that. Between 20 and 40 minutes. Some episodes may go slightly over, but we'll warn you in the intro. This is going to be a long episode.
Yeah, and if they're ever too long, we'll split them into 2.
100%.
And give you a double whammy on a day.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But yeah, so don't forget, Wednesday, 10 a.m.
See you there.
See you there.
Square.
Yeah. See you later, guys.